I'm curious your perspective on this. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately because you see a lot of artists that really gain some sweet traction in their career, but I feel like they to some degree kind of plateau at this like mid-tier level success where it's like they're really definitely making a living. They're selling out, several thousand people shows, but they're not that like they're not getting the invitation to the Grammy kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or they're
Right.
not, like A list, in whatever field, whether it be the CCM music or whether it be rock music, whatever the case is, like pop music. And I'm curious, like something I've been personally thinking about, and I'd love to know your perspective on this. I'm noticing that these people that create these get stuck in that music purgatory, I guess we'll call it, is they kind of sound like other artists, and they're never these. They're really talented, but there's nothing that like Billie Eilish is Billie Eilish because there's nobody that was Billie Eilish before. Ed Sheeran is Ed Sheeran because like who else like, was able to play an acoustic guitar with redheaded 18-year-old kid like. And I'm like realizing like it's like really all about being yourself and being unique, but it's like, well, how do you also be unique without trying to be? It's this whole thing, you know what I mean? But I'm
Yeah,
curious
it's
your perspective.
man, you actually said it probably even better than I could have said it, but it is that unique factor of like there is not well now there's 100 other Billie Eilishes
Well,
as there
exactly,
always
but
is,
she was the first Billie
but
Eilish, right? Exactly.
she was yeah, but she was the first one, and that's a big part of it. Like to stand out in a marketplace, you have to be unique.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be either well, let me say it like this. I interviewed Martha Earls on our Made It Music podcast, and she manages an artist named Kane Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and he has been a great example of this because he stood out when he came out in the country market because he was way different than anybody else. I mean, number one, he's a black guy, so there wasn't a lot of people of color in country, so he was speaking to a different demographic that wasn't necessarily being spoken to, but he wasn't doing it in a way of like being alienating to the fan base. Like the 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 way that you have to do it is like you have to be the same but have just enough different that it stands out.
Yeah.
So, Billie Eilish, even though she is crazy off the wall and unique, I mean, if you analyze the songs, it's like they're not that crazy. They're not like super indie arty out there songs. Like they do follow a pretty pop songwriting structure.
Mm-hmm.
And even the production, like it is unique. Phineas is brilliant,
For
but
sure.
it's also not completely 100% reinventing the wheel. Like you can hear places he got his influence. Like
Mm.
everybody's going to be influenced by something, so it has to be like success has to it can't exist in a vacuum. It has to have enough relevance to what's going on with everything else in
Yeah.
that genre, but it also has to be unique enough to stand out. And that's a tough balance, and that's the $1 million question that we're all like, if I had the answer to that, or if anybody did, like that'd
Absolutely.
be the thing that we'd be making all day. But that's
That's true.
that's the thing.
But it's
So
also
I
constantly changing too.
it
It's
is.
the dartboard is always changing. You figure out what's a hit, and 6 months from now, a year from now, it's a totally a 2012 hit is Taylor Swift's. I knew you were trouble. It's very different today. You produce that today, it's not gonna work. It's so different. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. It's trends, but that's where I go back to songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like it all starts with a song. You can produce something a million different ways. You can have a different artist sing it in a different way. Billie Eilish sings way different than Taylor Swift. But the fact is if you just put those songs like if it's somebody sitting playing it on a piano, it
Mm-hmm.
almost doesn't matter who it is. Like the song is great in and of itself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And styles change, come and go. Drum sounds go
Yep.
in and out of vogue. 808s at some point are not going to be cool anymore, maybe. Um,
They've been around
and
for a bit, but we'll
they have
see.
been around for a bit. I probably that's probably not true, but but you know what I'm saying? It's like the song. If you can understand like hit songs, whether you're the one writing them or you're finding them or you're co-writing them with people, like that's the thing that gives people longevity in their careers is
Mm.
uniqueness and having hit song after hit song after hit song after hit song.
Absolutely. Absolutely.